What happens when a good old Tennessee boy like me gets cut loose in one of the largest laser manufacturing shops in all of China? No host, no interpreter, no guide. They just cut me loose on the factory floor all day. So let's work through and let's show you exactly how lasers are made, where they come from, all the processes that go into it. This is gonna be a really fun day. Classic first step. We're out here blanking parts, got our raw material inventory, and we're gonna cut all the parts for our frames. You guys have seen a saw line before, but what's significant here is that these guys actually make the frames. 95% of all laser producers in China are buying frames from, I don't know, but they're not making them themselves. This is a very special company because they make all of their frames from scratch, from the cutting to the fit up, to the welding, to the milling, the heat quenching, sandblasting, painting. It all happens right here. We basically got like the source. It's like the Colombian cartel of lasers here in China, guys. You can't get any closer. Check out this hog right here coming out of the fit up room. Why would we use bandsaws in a laser factory? Because to be completely honest with you guys, it still makes a lot of sense to use a bandsaw for straight cuts or bundle cutting. You can, in some instances, process more material with a bandsaw than you can with a tube laser. But once we started incorporating our smoke baffles, electrical plumbing, and air plumbing down into the frames to protect them from the harsh environment that is a freaking fiber laser, we had to move to a more advanced cutting system so that we could cut all of the relief notches, the tabs and slots, the access holes, the doors, the openings, the flaps, the windows, the dingles, the dangles, all the stuff that it takes to make a more advanced machine. You really have to get into a fiber laser. So at this point, we have lasers making lasers that make lasers that make lasers, and it just keeps going round and round. This box tube right here actually becomes a exhaust duct. So these are all of our openings for the smoke baffles. We integrate them down into the machine so that we can split zones and keep the CFM focused exactly wherever you're cutting and not waste the energy of the fume extractor. A lot of Chinese lasers get a bad rap because of what their frames are made out of. The frames are primarily made out of box tubes that are stacked on top of each other to give you enough rigidity for the machine. Once you start pushing higher Gs and faster acceleration, you have to make a stiffer frame. So we make the main portion of our frame out of plate steel and create torsion boxes that run the length of the machine. It's really loud in here. We only use box tubes for the cross members that are mainly used for stiffening the machine, and also ductwork for the fume extraction systems to evacuate all of the smoke out of your table. So this section right here is all laser cut plates, fit up, and they don't do weld out here. This is I can't say it's a precision surface. It's just a leveled stage they've used for a big welding table here. It's probably about 50 feet long, and I'd say about 20 feet wide, so that they can build multiple tables here at one time. The precision here isn't super critical because everything gets put in a precision mill before it gets to the next step. A great way to tell if your laser manufacturer makes good lasers is if they use their own freaking lasers in their manufacturing. Check this out, guys. We got 1, 2, 3 lasers cutting all the heavy plate for the frames that get moved over here to the other fit up section. It ain't pretty, but it sure makes a lot of money. Just like us, we use the same machines in our manufacturing every day that we sell to you guys. We don't have like a cheaper model. Everything that we rely on, we pass on to you guys. So you guys have a machine that can actually make money and not just sit there like a big paperweight. This is just one of the many reasons why I like these guys so much. They have the exact same thought process as us, that we use the machines that we sell. So we get to figure out if we have problems first by torture testing these things in real world environments, and not just selling you a piece of equipment based on specs. We sell you a piece of equipment based on what it can do for you. So what do you need a laser to do? Look at that beef. That's like 1-inch plate right there, guys. This frame has been fully fit up. Now it's time to head to weld out. Let's go put this sucker all the way together. So you notice these big blocks of extra material right here? This is where the mill is gonna work the surface down to be perfectly flat, parallel to the other side, and level all the way across the surface. We also mill in little datum lines, I'll show you in a second, that we drive the linear rails into, and that makes it way easier here in the factory to line everything up. Paisley up here for scale. Look how huge this thing is. Okay guys, I'm really sorry. I left my microphone on my jacket, so you guys are gonna have to deal with this cheap kung fu movie of a voiceover here. But I want you to see exactly how absolutely massive this mill is here. I'm still running, folks. It goes all the way down to there is the working area of this thing. It's longer than a 40-foot shipping container. So literally anything we can put in this mill, we can ship across the country, and it's truly the greatest asset of our partner here. You guys are all about that life. Going over every single square inch of these tables. Moving all slag, all birds. This is post-heat treatment. Post-grinding, ready for sandblasting. All our holes are drilled and tapped. All the machining's done. This thing is perfectly flat, perpendicular, parallel. Paint department right here. These guys are going through some Bondo. Bro, this thing was pretty hammered. I know I talked to his lasers, but this is a press brake. So all the welding gets bondoed on these, really high fit and finish. Every single hole in these is machined. See that? That's a machined hole. That's not plasma cut. That's not oxy fuel. That's not just a grinder. That is machined holes everywhere. Every single penetration through this thing is machined. There's my painter. All right, paint booth today is full of guillotines for the press brakes. And this right here is the final result. Beautifully painted, bondoed, stress relieved, precision milled, sandblasted, primered, drilled, tapped, ready to go to assembly. This is what it's all about, guys. This is why I have so much confidence in the machines, because I spend time in the factory on every single build, learning something else, adding process improvements. We worked on a little something in the welding cell. They weren't wrapped in their corners, which, as we know, is the highest stress point in the box tubes. So I got to meet with their QC. We wrote a little process. We did the documentation. They're going to work on training later in the afternoon, and then they're going to wrap the corners. We're not exactly perfect, but we have absolute control and total input on every single component that goes into our machines, starting all the way at the raw material that they use before it even goes into a frame or a gantry or a laser head. So I really hope you guys like this factory tour in China. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow the channel, and if you want to know some more, go to HeroMachineCo.com, where we really make better machines. Okay, so here we are after paint. This is a 40-foot long monster. This is not our machine, but it uses all the same principles. I want to show you guys something really cool here. We machine in all of these oil journals so that when oil from your bearing packs drips down off of your rails, it doesn't just create a big pool of a mess here. It actually gets into this track, filters all the way down, and here, right here is like an exhaust port where all the oil drains into a nice neat little bucket, so you don't have a big mess all over your machine. Here's Mr. Precision in Chief right here. His job is to mount the rails. This is probably the most crucial step. Even if your milling's not perfect, your welders did a great job, if this guy doesn't mount the rails straight, every other process has been wasted. So there's only one dude here that does this job. Damn, he's fast. Call him Lightning McQueen. Here's all of our smoke baffle systems. Now you see those holes that were cut on the laser are used for the duct. And our torsion box is that piece up above. So we got box tube on the bottom, box tube for cross members, but the top section is all torsion box. Super rigid, super strong, never gonna move on you. If the machine is too big to fit in the container, we can precision mill this surface so that you can bolt them together and still have a perfectly flat, true system. Now it's time to give all the muscle a brain. Here's the wiring department right here. Here's all the completed systems. I want you guys to notice, look at all this labeling. Everything is labeled, both sides, matching. I want you to notice something here. See, D negative goes to DA negative. P positive goes to P24 because you can assign it positive or negative, but it's P. P goes to P, D goes to D. So every single part of this board is traceable. A12 right here gets traced over here to A12. Both sides of the wire are labeled the same. So it makes it super easy to troubleshoot any problems, even if we're not in your shop. By wiring everything the same off of a schematic, which may not seem like a big deal, but a lot of manufacturers change the wiring depending on who's putting it together. We've standardized a system where every single machine is wired exactly the same. So troubleshooting gets super easy. All the machines have Wi-Fi, so we can remote into your system, check the input outputs, check our lot tracking system, and we know exactly what your machine configuration was, and we have a copy of your schematic in our shop. So it makes troubleshooting way simpler, way faster. You're not waiting for a tech to drive out to your shop and fix something. 90% of the time, we can just remote into your system, check which port is having a problem, and do a reconfiguration over the internet and get you guys back up and running without ever stepping foot in your shop. You guys want a 6-inch chuck on your laser? You want a 9-inch chuck on your laser? You want a 12-inch chuck on your laser? Which kind of chuck do you guys want on your laser? We got all the chucks. We're totally cruising now. We're making awesome progress. We're almost there, I promise. Just hang out with me for a few more minutes. This is pretty cool. This is all of our laser resonator inventory. You guys want Raycus? We got Raycus. You want Max Photonics? We got Max Photonics. You want IPG? We got IPG. I do recommend going with Max Photonics. They have the best support in the US. Raycus has some limitations on what they can export from Asia over to the United States, so it gets a little sticky sometimes doing support. IPG is about 6 times the cost of either Raycus or Max, so we like to use Max Photonics. They're easy to service. They have North American representatives and repair centers. So if you guys have a really big warranty issue, Max is really the way to go. Let's go get a laser head. And this is our haul of cutting heads. We've got mostly Bochu and Ray tools. We put Ray tools on our lowest power machines because it's a little bit better value. They don't have as many features. They're still super reliable, stable. I've run over 10,000 hours on a Ray tools head with really no issues. Had to do a rebuild twice in the entire time I had one. We can do all the rebuilds at our shop. You just have to send the head in and we can rebuild all the optics and send it back out to you. Usually gets turned around in about a week. We also keep a couple spares that may not be the exact same features, but we can ship a spare out, get you guys running again while we rebuild your other head and get you guys back to full strength. But this, all the way down to here, I'm still going. You can't even see me. I'm still going. There's more laser heads, and that's it. All in stock, all ready to go, no delays. If you want a larger resonator, smaller resonator, different head. And then of course we have the Bochu operating system is what we're running all the machines on. So I really like using these Bochu heads because they're native to the Bochu software. They communicate a little bit better and makes troubleshooting just a little bit faster, a little bit easier for all of us. I wasn't recording. There we go, guys, straight off the table. Look at that, that's your dross.